Hello, my dear friends and fellows, how are you? It is important to achieve something and it is important to be successful. But the question is that does it ensure our happiness and self esteem? Go to the practicing psychologist, clinical psychologist, and you will be able to find there are plenty of people that they are successful. They have achieved a lot. They inherited a lot. Despite all that, they are not happy at all. They are not successful at all. Despite all their successes, despite all their achievements, and they also inherited so much. What does it show? It means actually that your successes are good, your achievements are good, and it does contribute as for your satisfaction, as for your happiness, as for particularly somebody's self-esteem is concerned. My dear friends and fellows, despite all that, it does not ensure anything like that at all. So, and I believe that most of the, or almost all of the clinical psychologists will agree with this notion. So, my dear friends and fellows, so if at all a person is not enjoying, experiencing a reasonable amount of self esteem, I think their life is quite unenjoyable. Their life is quite a failure. Because if at all there is no self esteem, I think every achievement, every so called success is totally is futile one. So today we have made it a topic of our discussion about how to build our self-esteem. Building the self-esteem, I think it should be even more important as far the material successes are concerned, as far the achievements are concerned. But I don't totally ignore the importance of all that because that is useful and important. But having a self-esteem, that is, I think, the prime aim of all the successes, all the achievements. And in the absence of this thing, everything else is in vain. So let's take the topic of how to build the self esteem step by step. And let's take the first of all, it is the self reflection which is needed. First of all, the self reflection is needed. And how can we do the self reflection? There are three important points for that. The point number one is that identify negative self talk, identification of negative self talk and challenging it. We talk to ourselves, and our self talk is more, in amount and in importance than all the talks combined we make to the other people. And all the time we are doing the self talk, even when in the presence of somebody we are seen talking to ourselves. Simply the words are needed, simply the lips movement is not needed, but the self talk is going on. And some of the people, they are mostly negative in their self talk. These people are their own worst enemies. Everybody who is talking to oneself negatively, negative self talk mean that we are negative self talk mean that we are saying certain things to ourselves which are destroying our self confidence and which are actually telling us that I am nothing, I am not capable, I am not important, I am not happy, I am not going to succeed, and plenty of other negative self talks as well. So, my dear friends and fellows, negative self talk must be identified and it must be eradicated, it must be challenged, it must be defeated, it must be thrown out of the mind repeatedly again and again. Every time it comes to our mind, I think we need to throw it, we need to hate it, we need to despise it. Why we need to despise it? Why we need to hate it? Because it is the worst kind of enemy. Of no one could be as big enemy of us as it is the negative self-talk. We need to identify, we need to eradicate, we need to challenge it. Number two, it is recognize your strengths and recognize your accomplishments as well. Why? Because it will build the self confidence and it will become build the self esteem as well. Recognize your strengths and recognize your accomplishments as well. Now the third point, as for the self reflection is concerned, it is the set realistic goals and celebrate your achievements as well. Setting of realistic goals, not the unrealistic one. There is a difference between the wish list and a goal. A wish list is always a realistic one. A goal is always a realistic one. But a wish list means I need this thing, I want this thing, I need that thing. That is quite a wish list. But this thing, what I am going to achieve, and I am going to achieve it. So that is our goal. The goal must be a realistic one, an attainable one, an achievable one. Otherwise, it will be a wastage of time. And realistic goal mean that I want to move forward. I want to achieve step by step, one step at a time, one step at a time. In this manner, I can keep moving forward, I can keep achieving, and I will achieve, I can achieve. So, my dear friends and fellows, there are 3 points as for the self reflection is concerned. Identify and telling the negative self talk, recognize your strengths and accomplishments, set realistic goals, and celebrate your achievement. Now, it is the second aspect, that is the positive affirmation. There are positive affirmations, whatever is repeatedly said by us to us ourselves, whatever is repeatedly said by us for ourselves, with ourselves, that is affirmation. Affirmation could be a positive one, affirmations could be a negative one. So we need to get rid of the negative affirmation, and of course we need to focus on the positive affirmation. And positive affirmation, how can it be done? There are two ways to do that. Number one, it is practice daily affirmation, like I am capable, I can do that, I have achieved so much, I am making progress, I am taking care of my health, I am a self disciplined person, I am a self confident person, I am a punctual person. So these are all the positive affirmations, and it is the practice daily positive affirmation. Number two, write down your positive affirmation in a journal, or create a sticky note. Certain very important positive affirmation. I am capable, I can do that, I am moving forward, I'm a self disciplined person. Write it down and chisel it on your mind and heart, because repeatedly saying that, particularly with the enough amount of emotion, enthusiasm, it will make it even more effective. So, my dear friends and fellows, it is the practice positive daily affirmation and write affirmation in a journal or create sticky notes. Now, the third aspect of building the self esteem, it is the self care. Self care comprises 3 points only. Number one, it is engage in the activities that bring you joy and that bring you relaxation as well. It is engage in the activities that bring you joy and that bring you relaxation as well. It is the point number one about the self care. Now, the point number two is prioritize sleep, prioritizing sleep, prioritizing exercise, and prioritizing healthy eating as well. So there are, it is prioritizing sleep, means 7 to 8 hours of sleep every night, and it is the regular exercise like 30 minutes to 1 hour every day, any type of exercise. The most common of all that, it is the walking, and of course it is the, then the healthy eating is also needed. And now the third point, that is third point in the self care says practice mindfulness and practice meditation as well. Mindfulness says Focus on the present moment. Focus on the present moment, without judgment, and not to dwell in the past at all. Past is usually regretful, and do not indulge in that regrets. Learn whatever can be learned, let it go, and future is usually worrisome. Don't worry about the future. Focus on the present moment, and that too without judgment, and do the meditation as well. So now it was the self care. Now, my dear friends and fellows, now there is a boundary setting. Boundary setting. Another aspect of the self esteem building. Another aspect of the building self esteem. It is the boundary setting. And the boundary setting says, learn to say no. Learn to say no without guilt, without apology. No guilt feeling, no apology at all, but learn to say no. Politely but firmly. Politely but firmly, learn to say no without feeling guilt, without any sort of apology or an apologetic attitude. Now, the second thing, as for the boundary setting is concerned, it is about set healthy limits with others. Set healthy limits with every individual. Every individual. Setting healthy limits with others. Every relationship, every contact, every interaction, there must be certain healthy limits, and nobody is allowed without the limits. If somebody is hurting you, if at all somebody is trying to manipulate, to cheat, to do anything which you don't want, stop them there. And it is the set healthy limits with others, with every individual. And the third is prioritize your own needs and your own desires. Prioritizing your own needs and prioritizing your own desires as well. So these are the boundary setting. Now, another aspect of the self esteem, it is the sport network, and desperately needed is a sport network. And there are 3 points here needed for the purpose of the sport network. Number one, it is surround yourself with the positive, with the sportive people. Surrounding yourself with the positive and with the sportive people. Number two, seek feedback from the trusted friends or the trusted mentor as well. Seek feedback from the trusted friends or the mentors. Now, the third point is consider therapy or counseling. Consider therapy or counseling. So that is the sport network. Surround yourself with the positive sportive people. Number one, seek feedback from the trusted friend, from the mentors. Number two, and consider therapy or counseling. Number three, now there is a last aspect of building the self esteem, and it is the self compassion. Now, treat yourself with the kindness. Number one, treat yourself with the kindness and with the understanding. Number two, self compassion point number two is practice forgiveness and practice self compassion as well. Practice forgiveness and practice self compassion as well. Now, the third and the last point in the self compassion, that is focus on the progress, not the perfection at all. Nobody can be perfect at all. Nobody can be perfect at all. But focus on the progress, focus on the improvement. Now, another very important point, which was the second point here, it is practice forgiveness and self acceptance. Usually, we don't forgive ourselves and we don't accept ourselves. In that case, building the self esteem or the self confidence, it is totally impossible. And I think it is extremely important that apart from forgiving other people, we need to forgive ourselves and we need to accept ourselves. If at all we don't accept ourselves, who else is going to accept ourselves? So we need desperately to accept ourselves. Now, the bottom line is that remember, building self esteem takes time. Building self esteem takes time and takes patience as well. So be gentle with yourself. Be gentle with yourself and celebrate small victories. Celebrate small victories along the way as well. So that is all from me today. Thank you very much.